This typewriter broke.
A little man walked up and down and found an eating place in town. He looked the menu through and through to see what 15 cents could do. One meatball, one meatball. He could afford but one meatball. He told a waiter near at hand the simple dinner he had planned. The folks were startled, one and all, to hear that waiter loudly call, one meatball.
So here we're going to be talking about the guts of machines. I've had a standing question if the Underwood 319 is basically the same as a Lettera 35, and some Italian poetry and some commentary on Italian poetry. And isn't the guts of a gramophone interesting? Little governor there. The meatball is because it's Italian. And what more fun can there be than that? Underwood 319. And the Olivetti Lettera 35. They look pretty similar. One difference is the space bar. This has a little lip and this one does not. The carriage return, it's a little bit snazzier on this. It folds back. The knobs are a little bit fancier on the Lettera. So some of the fit and finish, although these are plastic, and over here they're metal, although they may just be lacking the plastic top. It might be the same underneath. This has a different cover, and it's metal. But the innards, the guts, look pretty similar. The Lettera actually is broke. The platen will not accept paper straight away. I have to put it in with one corner and then, sort of futz around. Then it actually works okay. As we rotate back and forth between the Lettera and the Underwood, you might notice the sound of it is different. The Lettera seems a lot higher pitched, a little bit more annoying. And if you look at my fingers, it's harder to type on the Lettera. Looking at the way things are going on the Underwood right now, it's just a lot more fluid, not so many mistakes. And there is a difference between the machines. And so we come to an Italian poet, Eugenio Montale, who in the 30s and 40s joined in a poetry movement that was kind of antithetical to fascism of his day. This is outlined in the book Less Than One, in an essay by Joseph Brodsky, entitled In the Shadow of Dante. Brodsky references new poems, which were later poems, reflecting on the death of his wife and the absence of her in his life, and how that took away, much like his poetry was a taking away of anything extraneous. And we'll see that in a couple of these that are coming up. I see a bird. I see a bird motionless on the eaves. It could be a pigeon, but it's thinner, and it has a little tuft, or perhaps it's the wind. Who knows? The windows are shut. If you also see it, when awakened by the outboard motors, this is all one can know by way of happiness. It's too expensive. It's not for us, and he who has it doesn't know what to do with it. The positive. Let's prostrate ourselves at sunrise and let everyone turn toward his Mecca. If something still remains, even a bare yes, let's say it with closed eyes. And I went searching for the origins of the Lettera 35, and some say it was designed by Bellini for Olivetti, and some say that these various models are just clones of a brother made in Japan. Really? That's bold. But oddly enough, I kind of prefer the Underwood. So I probably won't get a new platen for this Lettera. There's the workaround about shoving the paper in it, kind of a corner at a time. And, well, like I said, this typewriter broke. And so we end this video looking at a picture of an Italian smoking poet and his typewriter. I don't really know if it's an Olivetti or not. I can't tell from this angle. Maybe some of you can. But I also want to excerpt from the essay In the Shadow of Dante, because Brodsky is so wonderful and he has so many insights. Brodsky says, what could be more odious for those who stress literary aestheticism, compactness of language, emphasis on word and its alliterative powers, sound versus, or rather over, meaning, and the like, than the propaganda, verbosities, and state-sponsored versions of futurism. Montale had the reputation of being the most difficult poet, and in a sense, he is more complex. But for all that, it was he who wrote The Hitler Spring, which begins, "The dense white cloud of mayflies crazily whirls around the pallid street lamps and over the parapets. Spread on the ground a blanket on which the foot grates as on sprinkled sugar." Brodsky then notes, "This image of the foot grating on the dead mayflies as on sprinkled sugar conveyed such a toneless, deadpan unease and horror, though in some 14 lines below he says, and the water continues to eat at the shoreline, and no one is any more blameless."
The little man felt very bad. The one meatball was all he had. Now in his dreams he hears that call. You get no bread with one meatball. One meatball. One meatball. You get no bread.